The decision to consider the damage to Data Tower 67 and the nearby abandoned scout cruiser as part of the same circumstances wasn't automatic, but it seemed pretty reasonable. After all, the scout had been sent to investigate the tower going offline. And that region isn't populated at all, so it was a healthy assumption that they were likely, at least related incidents. However, a few things left us with some initial questions. First and foremost, it was unclear whether or not the scout had even reached the tower before landing in the small clearing within the seemingly endless jangled knife drawer that makes up most of the Razor Stone Pass. There is also the fact that there are no signs of any kind of struggle at the site of the scout. It's as if the two Guardians set down for foot patrol and simply hadn't yet returned. The landing area was not very large, and it was quickly determined that they were not in the vicinity any longer. And there was no way they could have left that small landing area without being lifted out. That posed another set of questions. If they were carried out by friendlies, then why hadn't they reported in? If they were taken against their will, for what reason? And why hadn't we heard from their captors yet? It had been over 3D spins since the scout had been reported missing. At first glance, the damage to the tower looked like it could be sky spike and static charge related, but once they got on the ground for closer inspection, it was obvious that it was an explosive that had been deliberately planted. While there are divisions that fight on our planet, the moon colonies are still very much preoccupied with their own growth, much like the individual people and communities in the early times of your American West. This doesn't mean that we don't have aggression and crime. We most certainly do. But this whole situation felt a bit too deliberate to be something thrown together by a single culprit, or a small band of renegades. And it certainly didn't make any sense for someone outside of our division colony to go to such efforts so far inside our established territory, to destroy one data tower among many, and literally cause nothing more than an irritating inconvenience. And then there was the scout cruiser that had been sent to investigate, now sitting abandoned, yet otherwise unmolested. It was decided that we would set up staging for the investigation at the site of the scout. There was more room for coming and going, and the jumper that was already there could serve as the ground headquarters. I called in a rover, which would bring another command-level communication center, as well as adding 4 more scouts to the mix, for patrol support and possible expansion. This would be the second rover I've shifted recently, and we don't have many to cover our established boundaries in the overlands, so now I will need to think about moving the Endeavor or calling up a new rover to cover some of the gaps while both the Tower 67 and Crystal Plains investigations are underway.